If you've been working hard on your anxiety recovery but still feel completely stuck, there's a good chance that the symptoms are not the only thing holding you back. Certain thought patterns and behaviors can quietly keep the anxiety cycle alive, even when you believe you are doing everything right. I know this because looking back at my 5 years with severe health anxiety, general anxiety, and panic attacks, I can see exactly how the following traps delayed my recovery. In this video, I will show you what they are so that you can recognize them and avoid making the same mistake. Because those of us with anxiety, especially health anxiety, tend to fear the symptoms the most. We believe they are the only thing keeping us trapped in the anxiety loop. We think that once the symptoms vanish, all the mental distress will disappear with them. Although that may be true to some extent, our approach to achieving it is often wrong. We become so preoccupied with the physical sensations and so determined to understand what they are and how to eliminate them that we forget what caused them in the first place. We go out and hunt for solutions and tips on how to stop one specific sensation. And this is based on my own experience. But even if there were a miracle pill out there, supplement, or some other way to make a symptom, such as numbness, disappear, it would probably not take long for anxiety to present itself in another form. A different symptom might appear, or the numbness might simply return. That is how anxiety tends to work. You may have suppressed one sensation, but that does not mean you have reduced your stress or learned to manage anxiety. During all those years, I've never found a way to achieve recovery by targeting one specific symptom, and I do not believe that is really possible. Instead of constantly experimenting with different ways to treat something very specific, learn how to cope with stress and muscle tension. Learning to calm both your body and mind is what ultimately helps for all the symptoms to subside. Another thing that prevents us from recovering is that we can never fully trust a diagnosis. I'm not going to tell you that you simply must trust your doctors. I know from experience that this is easier said than done. But what I am saying is that you should obtain the initial reassurance and perhaps a second or even a third opinion if necessary. And at some point, however, you will need to take a leap of faith. No doctor will tell you that you are physically healthy and suddenly make the anxiety disappear. A statement like that will not end your anxiety. I know the feeling perfectly. I was convinced that if I could just have one particular test done, I would finally get the clarity I needed. I was always searching for the one missing test that would give me the complete picture and allow me to move on with my life. I tried this for 5 years, and I underwent dozens of tests and attended dozens of medical appointments. The best I received from any of them was a brief boost in confidence, which usually faded shortly after I left the doctor's office. The symptoms were still present, so I would associate them with another disease or convince myself that something might still have been missed. Before long, I was back to searching for my magical answer again. So get everything appropriately checked at the beginning. And if you feel you must, seek more than one opinion. But eventually, you need to adopt a kind of whatever happens, happens attitude. Recognize that you have done what you reasonably can and resist the urge to keep seeking reassurance. Otherwise, you'll remain trapped in the reassurance-seeking loop that keeps anxiety alive. People beginning their recovery journey often expect to see results almost immediately. I always want to be very honest here on this channel, so I will tell you that when I began taking recovery seriously, my stress actually peaked for a while. I started setting my alarm for 4:30, I exercised every day, and changed many other things. I probably tried to change too much at once, so it may not have been the best approach. Eventually, however, those tasks became routines and part of my life. Only then did I begin to notice the full benefits of that lifestyle. I pushed through the difficult periods because I knew this was the only way forward after I had already tried almost everything. It was not until several weeks or months later that I began to feel less anxious and found the symptoms more bearable. That was how I first noticed recovery. I still had all the symptoms, but they no longer triggered a succession of panic attacks. That was my first real sign that I was recovering. Recovery takes time. You need to acknowledge that trying to force it will only fuel the anxiety. The next point is probably the biggest mistake people make while working toward recovery: the way you respond to setbacks. You may feel great for several days or weeks, only for anxiety to suddenly return and cause another panic attack. You need to understand that recovery is not a smooth, gradual process. Ultimately, you are working to lower your stress to a level at which you can manage difficult events more easily. That will not happen overnight. Those stretches of anxiety-free days show that you are doing something right. You lowered your stress enough to handle daily life again. It simply was not yet enough for you to feel completely as you did before. You reached your overwhelm point again, but that does not mean you have lost all your progress. Do not allow a setback to send the entire process spiraling out of control again. Acknowledge it, remember that setbacks are normal, and continue doing what has been helping you. Think of recovery as shaping a new and stronger version of yourself, someone much better equipped to handle whatever life brings to you. This will make you more resilient to future stress and teach you how to cope with it effectively. See recovery as one meaningful project and make it exciting. Create a plan and keep working on it. Even if everything feels difficult right now, you will get through this period, and the effort will be absolutely worth it.